What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna take a look at the 2025 Subaru WRX TS, which is their new top trim level car. And we're gonna compare that to the Toyota GR Corolla. For the GR Corolla, the premium is gonna be around $46,000. This TS is about the exact same price point. However, the entire GR Corolla lineup all has the same performance, as does the WRX. So I'm here at Flow Toyota of Statesville. They have a pre-owned base model GR Corolla, so we can at least feel out the performance differences between the two cars and the premium they have inside. We'll take a look at that interior just to show you price for price how these cars stack up. But let's get right into it. Is Subaru still the king of the all-wheel drive fun cars? I don't know. We'll get into it and see. Taking a look at the performance information for the 2025 Subaru WRX TS, you're going to get the 2.4 liter turbocharged flat 4-cylinder boxer engine. This makes 271 horsepower with 258 pound-feet of torque, only paired to a 6-speed manual on this trim. If you want an automatic, you can get a GT, which will have a CVT. This car's curb weight is 3,400 pounds. 0 to 60 time is also about 5.9 seconds. For the GR Corolla, this utilizes a 1.6 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged inline engine, pumping out 300 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque, paired to either a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic for the 2025 model year. This is all-wheel drive as well, and then curb weight comes in at 3,300 pounds with 0 to 60 close to 5 seconds. Now for the exterior styling, the core model, base model, of course, looks a little bit different. However, when you compare this to the premium, has a much more aggressive design, especially for 2025. You can see the gloss black for the center grille, very aggressive front end with a super cool appearance. Premium Plus models will also get the heat extraction vents and a more aggressive hood. So obviously this one is a bit toned down comparing it to the top level TS. For the TS, you got the hood scoop up above to provide cooled air to that intercooler. You got the gloss grille in the center, and then a lot of this plastic material all throughout it. There are really nice sharp lines. I like the overall shape of the newest WRX. Just wouldn't mind less of the basic plastic, especially being this is top level. This has some of the same materials as a core model. For the wheels, you do have a nice set of 19-inch wheels, 6-piston Brembo brakes with ventilated rotors. You're also gonna get some more of that trim all throughout it and sharp body lines throughout the side profile. Now for the GR Corolla, this is a hot hatch. So you got that hatchback style, super wide fender flares, a nice set of wheels as well, 4-piston calipers, slotted rotors, a vent behind that front fender. Really cool compact look, and I love just how wide all the fenders are. In back, you got a super aggressive rear bumper with a triple exhaust tip, giving it a super unique style. Large diffuser in the center. It's a cool car, definitely a nice compact sporty vehicle. For the WRX, very traditional like any WRX. You also have a massive rear diffuser finished in the basic plastic quad exhaust. Nice design on the taillights with a black bar connecting, and then a small lip spoiler to wrap it up. Got some sharp lines on the side as well, and just a nice sedan style. So for the interior on the 2025 WRX TS, this does have a really nice use of materials. You have soft touch plastic up above, micro suede, the blue synthetic leather material. There's more of the leather material along with the stitching and micro suede for the dash. And then in the center, the multimedia screen, very similar to all the modern Subarus. There's a little bit of lag to it. I'm not the biggest fan overall. And now at the home screen, you can see some of those tiles. You can swipe over and sometimes it will work. So kind of one of the drawbacks, it does look cool. You have some physical controls for climate that will pop up. And then for climate, you just go into here. So it's all right aside from the lag. Going into reverse now, you are going to get a backup camera. Utilizes a portion of the screen, pretty good graphics though. Gauge cluster does look really nice. You can see we have the full LCD screen. And then if I hold the center icon, you can get a full screen navigation. Continuing through that, you have safety information and then back to the center. You can also scroll on the left side, see a few different vitals within the car, which is a cool touch. So it does look nice overall. Drive modes themselves do not configure the screen. You can do a shortcut right here though, and that will pop us right into individual, where you're gonna see Sport Plus, you can see Sport, Normal, Comfort, and you can configure the power, the steering, the suspension, as well as the eyesight system. Down below, you got the nice 6-speed manual, the blue material. These Recaro seats look super cool with the blue accents to them. You can see up on the headrest, really large bolsters to them as well, a little bit flat, but overall this is a really nice place to be with great use of materials and a good style. So for the interior of the GR Corolla, they're all gonna have the same multimedia screen. You'll have navigation once set up. some audio information, all of your basics basically, nothing really all too fancy about it. And then going into reverse, you have a backup camera, pretty similar graphics as the Subaru, just a tad larger screen. There are physical climate controls in the center, super basic, just like any typical Toyota. And then the gauge cluster does look really nice. You can see the LCD screen. You can scroll left and right and configure quite a few different things. You can also hold down the OK icon, and then all 3 sections of the screen you can change. So there's pretty good customization to really have a lot of performance information throughout this car. For drive modes, you have down here, and that will configure the screen too. So if you go into the sport mode and custom, you get that cool large tachometer. So nice gauge clusters in both cars. Got the 6-speed manual with a cool design, and then extra drive modes as well for the all-wheel drive system. So you can configure the split. We have the GR4 on the right side. You can see a 60/40, a 30/70, and then the track one as well. So lots of cool configurations. Nice round steering wheel with all of your controls. Now this core model, of course, is very basic with cloth and just some basic plastics. However, in the Premium, you're going to see the nice micro suede and leather material across the seats with some nice contrast stitching. You'll get a bit more nice materials on the door panel as well as the dash, and then a Premium Plus will have a lot of red stitching all throughout it. So hopping into the backseat with the GR Corolla. So this is a pretty compact car, and it's apparent when you're sitting in here. At 5'11", I do have good headroom though. For the driver's seat at my height, my knees have a little bit of space. There is a nice cup holder and armrest in the center. This can seat 3 people back here, which would be honestly pretty cramped for the person in the middle. There's no air vents. You can kind of get to these plugs right here on the center console, but overall it's a pretty sparse interior. Definitely on the cramped side, but it is still usable enough for what you need. Onto the WRX TS. So this has a wheelbase of 105.2 inches versus 103.9 inches in the GR Corolla. This is noticeably a more practical interior with a lot more space. Great headroom. It feels nice and open. I have a lot more legroom with the driver's seat at my height. There's going to be 2 USB ports down below, storage behind all these seats, and this whole rear is going to get the nice interior, as you can tell, with all the blue, the leather, the micro suede. Can also seat 3 people, and in the center you can pull this down and you're going to get a nice armrest along with 2 cup holders. So definitely a better back seat. There's just a lot more space in here, a few extra amenities as well. As far as cargo space goes, you're going to get 17.8 cubic feet of volume in the GR Corolla and 12.5 cubic feet in the WRX. So taking a look at the trunk space, it still is pretty large for what you're going to need. Just a basic sedan, really can't complain. Nice flat floor. GR Corolla, it still looks pretty compact in here. However, you have the extra height given it is a hatchback. So overall, it does allow a little bit more space. And then you have a cargo cover, privacy cover that you can easily remove if needed and grab these seats from back here. And you're going to be able to fold these down. You will have to get the seats out of the way. So a little cumbersome to get them all the way down, and it will maximize space just a little bit. WRX, you're going to manually pull the tabs on the top portion of the seats, and they're going to fold down nice and flat. Didn't even need to move those seats out of the way to get them all the way flat. And then, as you can tell, you still have a pretty good amount of room. So honestly, both cars pretty comparable as far as cargo space is going to be considered. All right, setting off now in the GR Corolla, getting my bearings with this car once again. So we have some good experience behind the wheel. We have to take a bunch of the 2025s around the racetrack, automatics and manuals. So we've really experienced the up-to-date version. So this car, instant drawbacks are the fact that it is a little cramped on the interior, and even in a Premium or Premium Plus, the interior is a little basic looking. Nothing really amazing about the styling. The screen's kind of basic. Gauge cluster does look nice. The steering wheel's nice. The shifter's nice. So this is a very functional interior, but a little cramped. Fun factor though, let's go into the sport mode. This car handles really good. Nice and flat around the turn. And man, is that 3-cylinder peppy. This thing really packs a punch and it moves. There is some character and drama to this little tiny engine. It carries its weight so well. The brakes are really nice. This thing is fun. I love how you can configure the all-wheel drive as well, just like in the old STI where you could kind of do that stuff, which we're gonna not find in the new WRX TS, but the way you can adjust the split of power and everything is a really cool design. I like the manual too. It's very notchy. It kind of has a bit of a throw to it, but you really have to pop it into each gear. It feels really nice and satisfying, and it's at a good spot, so it's easy to operate. Brakes work really well, nice and touchy. And the power. Man, this thing moves. Like, this is really well balanced, really, really nice to drive. It's got some pep to it. It's not a slow car at all. With the all-wheel drive, the turning circle is really nice too. Super easy car just to maneuver, which is a nice touch. And the fact that it is a smaller footprint of a car, it's really easy to place. The car feels compact around you. So it's a nice thing to drive when you're doing the performance. Man, I haven't driven one this hard. Obviously not going crazy, but this is a pre-owned car with 6,000 miles, so well run in, can drive it a little bit more spiritedly. Even at under like 4,000 RPM, there is some power. Redline's at 7,000 RPM. This is fun. There is so much fun factor to this car. On top of that though, it's a very refined ride. Now, it doesn't actually have adaptive suspension, so it is a fixed tune suspension even for 2025. This ride's really good. It's smooth, it's comfortable, it's actually really quiet. These seats, they don't really have the best bolstering, but they are nicely padded, they are comfortable. I do fit in here really well, so I'm actually pretty comfortable driving this car. Really no true complaints as far as just a normal car. It's a nice place to be. It feels refined and upscale. Easy to rev match. Man, the steering is direct. Man, this is fun. This is a great little car. I could see honestly getting one. I think this is a really fun blend, especially if you even go for a base model. I mean, under 40 grand for this kind of power. The power makes this car come alive. Oh man, it's cool. I don't really have any major driving complaints, I would say. This is a blast. Truly is a blast to drive. I'm having fun with it. I think the only true drawbacks are the fact that it is on the cramped side if you're gonna maybe put kids in the back or something. It's a small footprint. The corners of the dash right here, I have smacked my knee on a couple times getting in and out of Corollas over the years. Man, that engine just pulls. There is so much power from that little tiny engine. That is impressive. So 2025 WRX TS time now. I'm in the comfort mode, so this does have a bit more sophisticated suspension. Everything's in comfort. Steering is nice and light, and the suspension's pretty decent. I can hit the star icon. We're right into individual, which everything is in the sport mode now. Sharpens up a little bit. The steering does get heavier, and the suspension is noticeably a bit firmer. One thing that's nice about this suspension, regardless of the drive mode, it's never backbraking. So this is a really refined, confident ride, which is quite nice. The interior, this is an open feeling place to be. It's nice in here with the materials all around. These seats are a bit stiffer, but these bolsters are definitely gonna do what they need to do. Rev matching's pretty easy. The car is very flat going around the turn. The brakes, you really have to press them hard. They're not nearly as touchy. I found that same thing when I compared this with the Type-R. But when you first try to apply the brakes, they don't really bite hard. So I wish they would bite a bit more direct like on the GR. And then for the steering, while it is heavier steering than in comfort mode, and the car does handle really well, there's like a little bit of a delay, so it doesn't quite feel as connected to the front end. And then for power, this is down like 40-some horsepower, which is a lot. You know, this for 45, 46 grand, you know, it's down in power a lot. When you look at the cars in this class, the Civic Type-R, the Golf R, and the Corolla, those all are in the 300 horsepower range, significantly more torque too. You know, this just doesn't have the power, and it's very noticeable when you're just playing with it on the back roads. I do like that it's all-wheel drive, of course, but punching it, it's punchy and quick, but it's not a fast car at all. And then one thing that is quite nice, there's really no turbo lag with the engine. It's a larger displacement engine than everything else in this competition, so you don't really get any lag. You get just the beef of a bigger engine, I would say. So in that slow speed, it is zippy and smooth. That's up to 50. It's not a slow car, but in comparison, it's just not fast. It doesn't pull you, it doesn't push you in the back of your seat. Going around that turn spiritedly, I'd say the ride is really good. It is a stable, confident driving car. It is really capable. It does do turns quick. You can go fast around them and the car stays planted and stays flat. Once you're in the turn, I don't mind the steering. It does feel nicely weighted. It's just when you're first making that turn, there's a split second of, am I actually turning or is it gonna do something? So it does lack that direct steering that I loved in that Corolla. The shifter too doesn't feel as notchy. It feels a little wobbly. So not the biggest fan of that. But right now, full throttle, yeah, we were going about 15 miles an hour faster on that same section in the GR Corolla easy. This wasn't really moving. So that's one of the biggest disappointments, just the power levels are just not there for the money. Going 45, flooring it out of the turn, nothing happens. The gauge cluster says STI on it, but the STI is, over 300 horsepower, has been gone for many years. That's the one thing, just the power is not there in comparison. That is a drawback. The agility isn't quite there either. It doesn't handle bad though. It's not a bad handling car. It is fun to rip around a little bit, but a GR, man, that gave me such a big smile just ripping it. It was, I don't know, it's much more agile, which goes a long way. The steering and agility is significantly better and the power is so much more, and the manual is more fun to shift as well. All right, so for my conclusion with the WRX as well as the GR Corolla, this is the 8th time I have filmed my ending because I'm having trouble really putting the words together. So here's what I'm finding. I don't think either car is worth buying in the top trim level. The GR Corolla fully loaded Premium Plus is like $47,000. This car fully loaded is pretty much the same-ish price, maybe like $45,000, $46,000. I think the GR Corolla Premium is the sweet spot at $45,000. I think you're getting a really good car. Car for car performance-wise, the WRX just does not compete. It does not have the performance, it does not have the handling. It is underpowered for what it is. I don't see spending over $40,000. I just don't see it. The GR Corolla has power, handling, agility, braking. It is a fun to drive car. The WRX is lacking in all those circumstances. So why are you gonna spend $46,000 for a loaded WRX? I feel like the WRX sweet spot is under $40,000. Get a limited trim because you're getting 90% of the exact same car I'm in right now. I don't really see the upgrades. Yes, this has bigger brakes, Recaros, adaptive suspension, but realistically, it just doesn't really translate to much. Like, yes, it's a capable car, it is fun to drive, but I don't think I would have any less fun in a more basic WRX under $40,000. I just think when you're in the mid 40s on one of these cars, I can't see spending that given it's down by 40 horsepower and doesn't have the same agility. So that's kind of where I leave off. I think the GR Corolla is a better car overall. The interior in a Premium is nice. It does have the nice seats. It's pretty good. It's not the greatest interior, but it's not that bad. It does feel a little Corolla-y, so a little basic for my particular taste, not quite as cool as this TS. The WRX though, I would spend under $40,000 on one just because it doesn't have the performance, which to me is the whole point of buying one of these cars. Why are you even gonna buy one of these if you're not interested in the performance? Well, there you guys go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content to come. GR Corolla though, a lot more fun option, only a small sacrifice with that interior, but you're getting a better performance car for the same money if you go fully loaded to fully loaded.